So this online session is designed to help you with creating and designing an academic research poster in PowerPoint. Hopefully by the end of it you'll be able to create something that looks like this. Obviously it'll have more content in it, but today I'm going to run through how to design it, how to do this in PowerPoint, a few little tips and tricks as well. So an academic poster generally is used to summarise and communicate your research. So you've completed your research project and you're now presenting that research at a poster conference. When conference audiences view posters, they're often walking around, they're having a look at different posters, they're talking to researchers that have research that is of interest to them and asking questions to the authors of the posters. Because of this, your poster needs to be visually appealing. It needs to be clear to read. You don't want too much text on there. You want to include graphs, any graphics, pictures, these kind of things. But the key really is that it's clear and easy to read for your audience. So before you begin to create the poster in PowerPoint, you'll need to have a good idea of what it is you actually want to communicate. This you can sort of start planning before you get onto the PowerPoint. This could be your key messages, your findings, these kind of things. Whatever it is that you want the audience to know. A poster doesn't and shouldn't include everything that you've done. It doesn't need to be a visual version of your whole research report. It just needs to focus on the key points. Remember the narrative of your project and any take-home messages you want people to know. Layout, format, the colours you choose, the fonts you choose, the blank space, all of these things are really important as well. So you need to be thinking about this before you dive in and start creating it in PowerPoint. As I said, the important thing really is that your poster needs to be readable, needs to be engaging, and your audience needs to be able to kind of follow your project, see your key messages without having to stand too close, without having to ask too many questions about what you actually did. This should be in there, and then any more specific questions the viewer can ask you. I'm going to talk through these points about how to make it engaging, easy to follow, readable, fonts, colours, these kind of things as we go through. So first of all, you need to open a new document. You can delete any of the text boxes that are on there already, so just drag your mouse, select them all and click delete. We now need to change the size of the PowerPoint itself. So all conferences will have specific size requirements. These will be communicated to you before you create your poster, so just check the details before. You can also change the poster from portrait to landscape. I'll show you how to do that as well. Today I'm going to create mine in A1 size, but do check the requirements of your poster and adjust it accordingly. So to change the size, we need to click on Design and then Slide Size, which is just here, and then go down to Custom Slide Size. So it'll bring up this window. As I said, I'm going to do mine in A1. So I'm going to have a look online, what is A1 in centimetres. So we've got 59.4 centimetres. So we'll change our size here. So we'll put in 59.4 for our width, and our height is 84.1. And you'll see that is portrait. So we click OK, and then it asks you if you want to maximise or ensure fit. Because there's nothing on our slide, it really doesn't matter which one we select, so we'll go for maximise. And there you go, you can see here we have our blank page which we are going to put our poster onto. I'll zoom in slightly for now. So the first thing we want to do is create the title, and to do that we just need to add some text boxes. What I will show you first, which is quite a useful thing, is these grid lines and guides that you can add or remove. I think by default they're not usually on the PowerPoint, but they're really quick and easy to get up and can be really helpful, especially when you're doing something so visual. You know, symmetry is important, the layout's important, spacing and things like that. So to find these, you click on the view. And then just here in the middle you've got grid lines and you've got guides. There's also the option of the ruler at the top as well. So I'm going to select grid lines and guides for now. I might bring the ruler up later if I feel like I need it. So first of all, the title. We will insert a text box. So if you click on Insert and then Text Box over here, and try as best you can to start that in the top corner of the slide and try and stick to these grid lines if possible. Now, font size is important, as I said. Remember, this is going to be large, so we want to make sure that people can see it. For a poster of about this size, I would say perhaps a font of around 80 would be suitable for the title, but we can have a look at a minute. So let's have a look. So your poster title, so that goes there. Now we need to think about the font. So the font itself, keep it simple, don't use anything too fancy, make sure that it's readable for all audiences. So this is one of my favourites, so we'll go for that. And then we'll centre this as well for now. You also need to include the authors of the poster within the kind of title banner of the poster. For this you can reduce the size of the font a little bit, so maybe we'll go 48, I might change that in a minute, and we'll put in all of the authors of the presentation, so authors listed here. This is anybody that's contributed to your project. Now we want to, if you look at my original, we want to add this kind of coloured banner, so let's pop that in. So to do that, insert a shape and we'll select the rectangle tool, and again start off as close to the corner as you can. We can adjust it if needed, and aim to use these grid lines because it will just help you to line everything up if you can keep the first thing you do within these grid lines. So we'll go for this size. As you see, it covers over the text, that's fine, don't worry. Also, one other thing is for the colours, if you click on design and then select this arrow here and colours, you can change your colour theme. This will kind of ensure that all of the colours that you use within your poster work together. You can also customise, import your own if you want. I'm going to go for the Office 2007 to 2010 colour theme. You can pick whichever one you want. So we've got this box now. So to bring that to the back, right click it and then click send to the back, and then you'll see we've got our coloured banner and our writing is now visible. What we need to do now is to put this writing, make sure that really it's aligned nicely within this box. So to do that, you just need to drag your mouse, select both of the text box and the coloured square that you've just put in, and then we go to home and click on arrange and then go down to align. We can click align center, which it should be anyway, and then we can also align it to the middle. What this does is it just nicely puts our writing in the middle of this. So if I just undo that, you can see what it's done. Rather than being too far to the top, it's actually just moved it all down slightly and looks much better. So now let's think a little bit more about our font. So we've got our poster title, we've chosen our font. I think that should be bold, I think that will look better. And authors here. So here we could change it to italics if you wanted. We could maybe perhaps make that a little bit smaller, depends how many authors you've got. But the poster title is obviously the key thing to be seen here. You can also change your font colour, so maybe white would be quite nice, or you could leave it at black. Have a play about with this depending on your colour theme to make sure that there's not too much of a harsh contrast between your colours. It really does need to be easy to read and clear. So now we've got the poster title and our authors here. We now need to include the University of Lincoln logo, as this is common. Any research poster would include your university's logo, and also often you're assigned a number. So for a research project that you're doing at university, you would have your group number. If you're an individual student doing a dissertation project, you will have your own number that needs to be displayed on your slide. And if you're going to an external conference, you will still often be given a number. So these need to be included. So to get these on, we just click on Insert Pictures, and then we've got the University of Lincoln logo here, so let's insert that, and it's come down the bottom here, so I'm just going to drag that up and make that a little bit smaller. If you hold shift as you're doing this, it just makes sure that the ratio of the picture stays the same. So we'll just pop that about here for now, and then I'll show you how we can adjust that slightly. So as we did with the text box and the rectangle shape that we've included, we now want to make sure that this image is central and justified to the rest of the poster. So we'll highlight all three, go back onto Home, Arrange and Align, and then we'll do the same thing. This time we want to align it to the middle again. So if we click on that, you'll see that the University of Lincoln logo will move down ever so slightly. So that's that one in, and then now we need to include a circle showing our number, so our project number. So let's do that. So again, we'll just insert shape and we will go for the circle, and then if you hold down Shift as you're doing this, it will make sure that the shape stays as a circle and doesn't warp in any way. So we'll just by eye try and get that similar size to the one we've already got, and let's move it a little bit closer just to see, so not too far off. Just to edit that, hold down Shift again, and you will see that on Microsoft PowerPoint these lines will appear that will show you if it is lined up with other things that you've got on your slide, which is really helpful. So that is now the same size. Let's bring it back down here just to work with it, and that I think we should have white. So let's change the fill colour, right click, click fill, and we will put that as white, and the same with the outline, we will just change that to white as well. Drag that up here. You'll see these orange lines have appeared. This shows us that where things are lining up, whether we need to move things, and you'll see that it kind of snaps to these lines as you're moving things about. So we'll pop that there, and just to make sure that it is central, we will highlight that again. We'll select all of that, and then back onto Home, Arrange and Align, and then Middle. So there we go, everything's in line. And then now within this circle, we just need to put your number, whichever number this is. So I'm going to use number 44. So text box, and then just click within this circle and pop in your number. Now we need to highlight that and change the colour. So we'll make that black, and then just increase the size to whatever size you think is suitable. Yeah, let's go for that one. So there we go, we've got our banner with the poster title, authors and the university logo on there as well. So now we've got our, so now we have the logo and our number on there. You may want to change about these colours, so I think it might be quite nice to have all the authors in white, but perhaps keep the poster title black. That's completely up to you as you're going through. So next thing is to actually put some content onto this poster. So posters basically need to summarise your research. So you need to include a little bit from the introduction, the background to your research, maybe key references, the justification for your research question. These kind of things need to be included as they are in your report. Also some of the methods, so your participants, which measures you used, anything like that. If you had sort of some key procedural information, pop that in there. Then we include the results and some of the kind of summary of the discussion. So all of these sections need to be in our poster, as well as our references. So to do this, we just need to start inserting more text boxes and shapes, as we did with the poster title, and then at the end we will just kind of play around a little bit with the formatting of everything to make sure that everything lines up and looks good. So first of all, we need to pop in the introduction. So to do that, we will insert another text box and try and stick to these grid lines, as I said, but we can play around with these afterwards. But if you can start off with them relatively neat and ordered, it's a little bit less work later. So we'll pop that in, and let's just increase the font size slightly for now. It's probably too big actually. We'll go 48. So introduction here, and let's reduce the font size because we don't need it quite so large for the heading. So remember, for the introduction, you just want to be including key points. you should use short sentences. You want to keep your font clear. And don't, whatever you do, be tempted to write too much. We don't want to see a full research report in this poster. So you can use bullet points if you want. They're often useful to catch people's eye. So bullet points. And you may also want to include any pictures or graphics in the introduction. So this is our first kind of very basic text box here. So first of all, let's give our text box an outline. So you right click on outline, and then make sure you use these theme colours because everything's then together. I'm going to use the same colour as we used for the heading, but you can change that if you want. So we'll pop that on. We now want to use the same kind of blue banner for our introduction. So let's insert another shape and pop that in. So again, try and keep it as close as you can to the top of the box and pop that in so it fits quite nicely like that, and that will have snapped to the back. That's fine. If you right click and then send that one to the back like that. So there we go, and I think already that looks quite nice, and then this will be the size however much information you've got to include. So we'll leave that like that for now. Then you move on to your next section. So what you can do is just drag your mouse and select the whole thing, then right click and copy, or Control and C, and then we can paste that, drag it down, and then this box can be our methods, and we can just edit the information. As I said, we will play about with the sizing of these text boxes at the end, but try if you can to keep them as close to the grid lines for now. So we've got our methods section. I'm just going to move this up slightly so that the spacing's nice. And as you see, I moved the text box, but because the coloured rectangle is behind it, that won't move with it. So let me just pop that back where I want it. Now what we need to do is just send this one to the back, and we can just move that as well and then send that back to the back. So there we go, we've now got our methods section. So within the methods section, this is exactly the same as you would include in your report. So maybe a little bit about our participants. So we'll put some bullet points in. Who were they? Say we had 100 undergraduate students. You would include their age, gender distribution, etc. We would then want to maybe include a little bit about our measures. So which measures did we use? So let's include the adult motivation for reading scale, and you would of course put your reference in as you would in a piece of written work, and then you can carry on including any other information that's relevant in this section. Make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So that would be all of my methods information is in there. So if I just pop that onto full screen so you can see what we've done so far, it's looking like this. Now we just need to include the results and the discussion. So we do the same thing again to include the results. So select it all. And then paste it and pop it here, and let's zoom back in. So this would be our results, and here in the results section, really you would only ever report your main findings, so the things that were really key to the research. So it might be that you conducted a two-way ANOVA. Make sure you include any factors, the levels of those factors, and report obviously your findings. You can also include graphs if you want. You may want to include tables or anything like this. You can do that here. So I'm going to include a graph. So I'll show you quickly how I've done that. So let's just pop that down. So in Excel, I've created my graph. Obviously this is not real data. I've got my graph, literally just need to select this graph, copy it, and then paste it in. You'll see it comes up like this, and if you just select the whole thing and move it into the text box, you can then play about with the size of the graph. Let's just increase the size of this text box a little bit. Enlarge our graph slightly so that it's nice. So we've got our graph in now. I think that looks quite nice. I'm just going to put up a little bit of space above it, so I'll just move it down slightly, and then just move it into the center. Oh, making sure I'm selecting the right box. Let's move that into the center of the text box. You can see the central line comes up, so we know when it's there. So we've got our graph in, and let's just zoom out slightly to see how that looks. I think that looks quite nice. It's clear, it's easy to see. Anybody looking will be able to see that there were some differences here between our groups, and obviously when we report our results properly, it would tell us exactly what that means. So that's the results, and then the discussion would be just the same as we've already done. So just again, copy one of these boxes and paste it. And then let's drag that down here. As I said, paying attention to the spacing that we're leaving. And let's change this to our discussion. And again, this is exactly the same as the introduction. You want key points only, use short sentences, keep your font clear, don't write too much. This will all help your reader be able to kind of get the clear message from your research. Let's just check these two line up, which, yeah, they do, so that's great. So now we've done that, the only thing we need to include now is our references. So I would just insert another text box down the bottom here, and just include that here like this, and let's call that references. Let's make that bold and slightly bigger, but it doesn't need to be as large as the rest of your font. But of course these references are important, so these would be any references included in the poster. There we go. Got our references here. It's up to you. You can play about with how you want that. If you want them all in bold, if you just want the title in bold, the rest in non-bold font, that's up to you. We'll just leave it like that for now, and again we can play about with it in a second if we want to. So let's have a look at this. So now we've got what looks like quite a nice poster. There's a few things that I don't really like about this. The text is quite close to the edge of these text boxes at the minute, and I'd quite like to make these headings a little bit more stand out a little bit more, so we'll do that. So to change the margin size within the text box, just highlight all of your, or just highlight one of the text boxes for now actually. So I'll just go down and highlight the text box, and then right click on that, and then click on Format Object and Text Options, and then this little text box icon here, and then you will see if we click on the text, we can now change the left margin size. We can also change the right and the top as well as the bottom, but it's just the left I want to change. You can see if you look over here at the margin, you can see that changing, increasing as I'm clicking through. So I think about a 1 centimetre margin is fine. You can maybe go a little bit more if you wanted. Do have a play about with it to see what you like. And then just click your way through your text boxes and do exactly the same thing. So I've done my results. Let's go down. Let's do the methods. So just move that up to 1. And then the same for the discussion here. So we'll close that. And I think that all looks quite nice. Now the other thing I wanted to do maybe was to make these bold. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think they look better bold. So let's make all of our headings bold. Same with that one. And then let's have a look. Yeah, I like that. Obviously there will be more information on yours once you have included all of the points, but as I said, the kind of idea is that you're not putting too much information in here, but that your message is still getting across. It needs to be clear. The narrative of your project, your take-home messages really do need to be clear, but what you don't want to do is overload somebody with so much information that actually they then don't want to read your poster because there's just so much on there. People will ask you questions. People will ask you, more details about perhaps the methods you've used or the introduction. You might mention some key theories, explain those slightly. They might ask you more details about those. That's fine. It's just kind of the point of these is to initiate the discussion and to begin to sort of present your research in a different way. So hopefully that's been helpful. I know that I've kind of gone through lots of different things, but do skip back and forth to key pieces of information that I've given you. Remember as well, you can change your colours. So if you don't like this blue, we can change the colour of that to something else. Maybe we could go for, I don't know, I quite like this kind of purple, so maybe that's what you want, so we would do the same. You could have your text boxes in different colours. Let's send that to the back for now and change this. So we could change this to that kind of dark purple. Ooh. Lots and lots of things you can play about with here if you wanted. So let's get rid of the grid lines now. There we go. So as I said, hopefully that's been useful. Do always check the guidance of the posters that you need, and remember these kind of key points that I've made. But PowerPoint, although we wouldn't traditionally think of it as somewhere to design a poster, is actually a really clear, simple tool. Using these features that it's got, such as the arrange and align, is great. You can kind of bring things together. The grid lines are really helpful as well. So I think that is about it. I don't think I've forgotten to include anything. Good luck with creating your posters, and do let me know if you've got any questions or want anything clarifying.